7-1, mean, median, and mode. This is chapter 7. Today is the first day of the third quarter, and it marks the, well, kind of the halfway mark of the year. I don't know if we're necessarily halfway with days, but close enough. This definitely marks the halfway point of the book, so we're right on schedule with finishing like we're going to. So we'll get to mean, median, and mode today. This should be review for you, whether you remember it or not. It'll just be a refresher if you don't, okay? So let's take a look at these three sections, first of which being the mean. If we were to think of another word to describe what the mean really means, it would be what? Average. Very good. Okay. 322. One way to describe a set of numbers is by the mean. The mean of a set of data is the sum of the data divided by the number of data items. For example, let's take a look at this set of numbers. 3, 2, 8, 4, 2, 3, 1, 5. So we will take the sum of these, add them all up and see what you come up with. Someone say something? I couldn't hear you. Maybe they're mean. Yeah, what do you mean? All right, 3 and 2 is 5. 13, 17, 19, 22, 23. Did you get 28? Yeah. So then we will take the sum, and how many numbers do we add? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Divide the 28 by 8. I'm going to put a decimal because I'm going to need a decimal because 8 doesn't go into 28 evenly. 8 goes in 3 times, and 4 left. Add a 0, drop the 0, should be 3.5. So your average or your mean for that particular set of numbers is 3.5. Okay? What does the average really mean? See how I did that? What does the average really describe? When do you see averages being used?
Oh, I know. Money.
Statistics, very good. Cal said specifically, like sports, like basketball players will have a scoring average, they'll have a rebounds per game average, assist average. So if someone has an average of 17, let's say just for example, they have a scoring average of 17.4 points per game. What does that mean? What does that mean? Willie? Yeah, does it mean they're guaranteed to score 17 points every game? No, they'll probably score above that every now and again, probably score below it every now and again, but when it's all said and done, you can expect about 17 points worth of production from that player, okay? So it's used to give you an idea of where they're at. Sometimes your grades get averaged out that way. I don't necessarily do that. It's not like I say, okay, you had an 80% and a 75% and add all the percents together and then divide it. It's your grades are strictly found by points scored Yeah, over points possible. Okay? So every single point that we do through the entire quarter would fall under points possible. The closer your top number is to that bottom number, the higher your percent is, which means the higher your grade. Okay? So averages, I think, can sometimes be misleading. So let's try number 1B. I'll give you the data set, and you find the mean. 12, 23, 19, 32, 26. All right, when we added these all together, what is it that we came up with? Brandon? 102? Is that what we got? 102?
I got 112.
112 divided by 5. So 5 into 11 is twice. Into 12 is twice. Into 20 is 4. So 22.4. Okay. Yeah, so Brandon, thanks for giving me that point to use, whether maybe you didn't want to or not. If you don't get the right sum, you won't get the right average. So if you ended up with 102 or something other than 112, you're not going to get the right answer. Okay? So you really have to pay attention to detail. Here, this one. So 20 and 20 is 40 plus 40 is 80. 80 divided by 4 is 20. Okay? Good? One more, or are you good with the average?
I'm good with that.
Good? Next one. Median. Where do you see the median if you looked outside? Yes. Yeah, if you looked out the front door of our school, you're standing on the steps and you looked straight ahead, that median is that area that's usually full of grass, which is now full of snow. Where do you find the median? In the middle. It's your middle number only your middle number when your set is ordered from least to greatest. For example, if you are given a set of numbers like the one I put up on the board, the first thing you need to do if you're going to find the median is you need to reorder them. Least to greatest. What's the smallest one? Followed by 84. Followed by Yep.
It's not hard to keep track.
It's a good idea to write all of them out and be able to cross them out like we did. Otherwise, you might miss them or take them out of order. I know it's a little bit more work, but it's worth it if you want to get it correct. Now, in order to find the middle, well, we start crossing out the smallest, largest, smallest, largest, smallest, largest. If there's only one, then the 88 is the median. What do you do if there's two?
You subtract it. You don't want to.
Raven, what do you do if there's two? What if you do all of this and you're left with 2 on the inside? So you add them together and divide by. So in a sense, you find their what? Average. You find their average of the 2.
Oh yeah, like last year.
Let's try one. 8, 42, 13, 7, 50, 91. First thing we need to do is reorder them. So I think a 7, an 8, 13, 42, 50, 91. First thing we need to do is to order them from least to greatest. If you don't order them from least to greatest, I mean, you might get lucky and get it, but you might not. So, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest. I realize if I cross those out, I'm not going to have anything left. Your median's not going to be 0. So let's add these together, and I should get 55, and I'll divide that 55 by 2. So 2 and 7 and 10 gives me a median of 27.5.
Are we gonna get a sheet of this?
Oh, yeah. Huh?
No.
Come on.
We was talking about that.
Okay. The mode is the number in a set that appears most often. Mode, most. Okay? Now, a couple of things you need to know about the mode. It's possible to have no mode. When might that happen? When might you not have a mode? Really? Yeah, then there's not any of them that appear any more than any of the other ones. Why is it no mode and not 0? What happens if you put 0 as your mode? Right, then you'd be saying that 0 appears most often in that set. Okay, so that's why you have to write no mode. And it's also possible to have more than one mode. Okay, so if you have two numbers that both appear 3 times, put them both down. Okay, so it is possible to have that occur. Mode is probably the easiest one that you'll come across because it doesn't require a whole lot of actual math. Okay, so take a look at numbers 11 through 14 on 324. Do those right now. Practice the mode. Numbers 1 through 5. Mean, median, and mode of each set. Now, when you put your 3 values down, if you decide you're not going to do them in that order, mean, median, mode, then you better label which one is which. If you want to just put down the numbers, we'll have to just assume that it's the first number you write is the mean, the second one's the median, and the third one's the mode. Unless you label otherwise, that's the only assumption we can make. Okay? Now, numbers 3 and number 4 present a different kind of challenge for you. Okay? I'll make 3 and 4 extra credit, but really maybe not as hard as you think.
3 and 4. What's your 3 and 4 and 5?
To find the mean, you have to add them all together. When you work with fractions, in order to add them, they need to have what? Right. So take a glance at number 3. What is the largest denominator that you have there? Does 16 work also for the other denominators there?
No.
All you would have to do is convert the other ones to 16ths. You can add them together. While you did that, You could also order them and find the median. And mode is easy. You find the one that appears most often. Okay. Same thing with number 4. If you look at number 4, so I don't know if this were me, I might put down by number 3 denominator of 16, or put something over 16 so I knew that that was the common denominator. Number 4, I see an 18, but I also see a 9, a 3, a 6. Does 18 work? Yeah, so you could use 18 as well for number 4. I'll make 3 and 4 extra credit, just because I know that if I make you do it, some of you aren't going to bother trying, so might as well just give it extra credit. It will at least reward those that'll do it instead of... Pardon me?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Right.
People who want to what?
Okay, Mr. Right. So, if he gets a lot right, so do we get like 3 extra credit points?
Yeah, I mean, I'll break it down accordingly depending on what you've earned. So, and number 5 is decimals. You should be able to add The rule for adding decimals is that everything has to be lined up. Really not that hard. Use the table for exercises 6 through 11. What is the mean heights of the active volcanoes listed to the nearest foot? So you'll have to add up the height of Cameroon Mountain, Mount Erebus, add all those up, then divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then it says the median height of the active volcanoes. So the first thing you'll have to do is put them in order and then start crossing off. And 8's the mode. Then 9 through 11, the mean of the wages listed. Those are all decimals in between. So that's $17.47, $2.55. So make sure you line up the decimals. Then it says the median, and then it says the mode. Okay. So yeah, the number's a little bit bigger, but not anything that is anywhere near impossible. It just means you got to work a little bit harder for it. Now, numbers 12 through 19. Each student in a class has taken 5 tests. The teacher allows the students to pick the mean, median, or mode of each set of scores to be their average. In other words, to be their final grade. Which average should each student pick in order to have the highest average? So let's take a look at number 12. And we've got 100, 87, 81, 23, and 19 as this person's test scores. And if you are this person and you are able to pick what you want to represent your final grade, do you want to use the mean? Why or why not? Do you want to add all 5 of these together and then divide by 5? Why not? Because why?
I mean, it's hard for us to do, but it's harder to do.
Mean you don't want to use, but someone needs to come up with the reason why.
Is any gonna take longer?
Josiah. What's going to bring your average down? No. Josiah, watch. If I had 5 test scores, and they're all 100%, 5 times 100 is 500. If I were to take the average and divide by 5, I would still have 100. So it's not the dividing by 5 part that's going to bring down your average. What's going to bring down your average? Specifically speaking, Sydney. No, it's not the 5. These are your scores. You had 100% on one, and 87% on another, 81%, a 23%, and a 19%. Why don't I want to use my mean? Willie? The 23 and the 19%, when you throw them in and add them together with these aren't so bad. But the 23 and the 19% are going to get factored into your grade. You don't want that because it's going to bring it way down. So mean is something we don't want. How are we going to check for the median? What do we have to do with it? Order it. Let's order these: 19, 23, 81, 87, and 100. How do we find the median? We order them, then we start crossing out. What happens to the 19 and the 23? They're gone. So I have an 81. Do you have a mode? Is there a number that appears most often? So the logical choice here would be I would probably want the median representing my grade. What would the mean be? $310 divided by 5 is a 62%. Your mean is a 62%, which would be an F. So you could take these grades. You could say, okay, an A, a B, a C, an F, and an F. They would still average out to be an F if they were part of your grade. So you'll need to do that for the rest of them, for 13 through 19. Your answer will be mean, median, or mode, whatever you would want for your grade. Yeah. Yeah, Joe, think. If we just had this and we said our mean would be a 62 and our median would be an 81, is there a better choice? Yeah, it's the median. If you put mean, then it's wrong. Yes, there is a right answer. Generally speaking, if all of your percents are high and they're all relatively the same, then that's where your average or your mean helps you out. If you've got some in your set like we did here that will bring down your average, that's when the median is going to be probably your best bet because you can get rid of those. Your mode, if you've got one like this that appears most often, all those that would be the same regardless, but okay. So 1 through 19 with 3 and 4 being extra credit.